All right, folks. Greetings on this beautiful beginning of the spring year. Today I'm here with Roger
Hope you're
and
having a nice hot heat wave. Because I
so
hear that the sun is beating down on the American Southwest like nobody's business.
so on this first day of spring, it's like 90 degrees outside already in Albuquerque here.
And we're under these lights on top of that, so it's all nice and hot.
So why don't you share with us what you want to talk about, and let's get to it.
Well, okay. While I was down and out with this illness and barely able to walk and all that, which is the usual talk. I've been saying that. I didn't waste my time moping around, which I could have, went to a corner and licked my wounds, and cried about it, and cried mama and all that stuff. But rather than do that, I did one thing I thought was the smartest thing to do since I was bedridden, and that was to put the entire packet together for everything that we're doing. Basically, what you're going to see today is the report card pretty much of all the research we were doing all the way up to this point, and all of the knowledge that we have that the world doesn't have, which is another weird point to make on top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a packet that I have completed here, which is sitting on this table, and this nice glamorous blue folder, non-conspicuous. There. Between that, maybe this, I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of all of the work we've been producing and all the work that you can be expecting to come up in the future, because as we speak, there are going to be 2 textbooks that are going to be produced. Here's the first one, How to Read the Sacred Calendar, an Ancient Chinook Global Mapping. It's got about, let's see in here, about 38 pages, not 40 pages, all to the end here. But in this book, it gives you all the layout of how to use astronomy and combining not only the astronomy of what's in our architecture and in our math, indigenous math that is, and our calendars and all of that, and then combining it not only with the knowledge of that, but with the global mapping, because to navigate the globe, you got to understand the celestial events and celestial things that are happening, as well as the longitudes and latitudes, which is the second part is about. The second part is about global mapping and how the indigenous people mapped the entire globe for trade. And this was all done way before the flood. We understood latitudes and longitudes, and how we understood the real pi by, which is 3.25, which is the real number, which can be used to find any location on a globe. What is a globe? A circle. What is pi? It's used to divide a circle. Brain salad surgery.
Okay.
But anyway, these are the numbers that are used in 3.25 and the locations that can be found. Angkor Wat, Mumbai, India, Nanmadol, Memphis, Egypt, and so forth. How the trade numbers we use to go from Nanmadol, Philippines, Angkor Wat, Bay of Bengal, all the way across to the Mediterranean, to the Azores Islands, and it gives the whole entire layout. It even tells you the layout where Dwarka is located, and it gives you even the layout of how to find the lake locations like Mohenjo-Daro and the places that they were using to mine lapis lazuli. I guess that was the valuable thing there. Here's the math layout for 3.25 for the northern and southern hemisphere. Here's an example of that trade route I was talking about from Nanmadol to the Azores Islands, and how 3.25 can be used to find these global locations. And it's 11,929.24 mile trade route. Not too bad. Then square and a circle. You know how you make a circle into a square, or a square into a circle, so forth like that. how the numbers were used for the Hopis and the tonal autumn and pretty much all represent the same thing. How the mathematical layout of the Zia symbol are the same numbers as the layout that are in the Aztec calendar stone. The 1.625 is also over here. The 3.25 is right there. The 4.875 is right there. 6.25 is right there. See, they all match the same numbers going this way. Not only they match, they even give you numbers for the hedrons, but that's a whole other thing, which is another whole science there. This is the layout of how it's used for solstices, and especially for today. You know what these are for?
What?
It's the equinox. What's happening right now as we speak.
Today's.
In the east, when you look at it from the east side, which is going that way, it tells you where the sun is going to be rising on the horizon, and then the sunset on the west, where it's going to be setting. And then you can figure out your equinox from there. How it's set up in the Aztec calendar layout, the same thing as that, just in the layout there, by using the North Star, the Polaris, how it was used to predict the solstices and equinoxes too. This is the Hawaiian star compass. This is the same numbers that are in the Zia template. And they use the same template to navigate the seas. So I'm not surprised they knew how to get to Easter Island and all that, because they had the same knowledge. They just don't know that. We think we're separate, but we have the same navigation. We have the same charts. We have the same numbers. We have the same layout. We just don't know of each other. And then the future is for the Sandia Mountain trade layout, as I want to relocate the Chinook trade network from Tillamook, Oregon, and I want to relocate the trade now to the Sandia Mountain here in Albuquerque, because it's set for, for future purposes. And this is kind of what this is about, showing the layout and all that.
The Hujuk Nation. Oh, that's something else. Never mind.
But if you look at this right here, this gives you an entire layout of how I located all these locations using my math and my charts to locate all the trade locations in the American Southwest, all of them. And if you'll notice that, what would you say? These three lines here and this one, they come from the Northwest coast to New Mexico. So how our tie is, and then how it ties into sending trade to Angel Island and down to Mexico to Teotihuacan. But this is basically the first book that talks about the whole global mapping and how, the Teotihuacan and the Babakiri Mountain is connected to Oregon, to Tumaco, Ecuador, which is this line right here. Pay attention, Native people. This is our lifeline. When we unite, this is the trade route that connects all of us as indigenous people to the entire hemisphere. So we'd be connected into one trade route, into one main trade line, one main conduit. So pay attention. This is really important, because what that is what this is. Connects Alaska, Canada natives, to the Northwest Coast natives, to the Great Basin Indians, to the Southwest Indians, to the Indians of Mexico, the Indians of Ecuador, of Bolivia, the Indians of Peru, all the way across South America, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean over here, where it comes out to a bay over there, which is the trade route of the future, which will connect us all this trade route. This thing here, Indigenous compass. North is that way, south is that way. You flip it over on top of your head, and it gives you all the layouts to where all the latitudes for the trade routes are. See, there's 35 east, 36 east, 37 east. On the other side, 35 west, 36 west, 37 west. And you put it up here, you just look at the horizon, it'll take you right to those latitudes for trade. Book number 1. Wake up, my relations. You've been sleeping. So, book number 1. So, I want you to know that this one is completed and already printed, and I'm on the verge of getting to announce number 2. Huhukum Trade Route Empire. What is this one? Well, if you take this one,
This is all the stuff you've kind of been showing people already in some of our presentations.
Except they're in
It
book
looks
form.
like, yeah.
We sort them in segments, never in a complete book form. These are the exactual, I don't call them book form, I just call it for what they are. Ancient indigenous textbooks, what I would call them. Modern codexes is a better word for them. Huhukum Trade Empire. It tells you the whole, the trade route. Well, my great-great-grandfather, which is, I've been given in past presentations. But it gives you a layout of how the Bi-Lateral Mountain, which I was showing a little earlier, is very much connected to what's going on in Mexico. And then they go, what do you mean? My cousin can verify it because there's legends of these people who were eating children and cannibalizing them and turning their bones and teeth and all that into jewelry. And then they go, what are you talking about that? And I said, well, they were living at 31,111 latitude, 31 latitude, 111 longitude. Why? That's the southern end of the Bi-Lateral mountain range. And where does that trade route go for these people that were eating children and cannibalizing them? It takes you right to Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital of the Valley of Mexico, which is known today as Mexico City. You go a little further, you go to Madera Canyon. Nobody's familiar with Madera Canyon. But if you know Arizona and you know your geography, there's a place called Nogales on the U.S.-Mexico border. It's at 31 degrees latitude, 110 degrees longitude. Why is that important? That valley was the exact trade route where that arrow went. It took them straight to Teotihuacan, Mexico, which is even older than Tenochtitlan, and they all come from the same location in Arizona. How do I know they all come from Arizona? Because the Ute-Aztecans got it all mixed up. You see that mountain? That's that mountain. How do I know it's that mountain? Because I know my cactuses. That's a saguaro cactus. A saguaro cactus only grows in Tohono-O'odham land. Doesn't grow anywhere else. In Mexico, in South America, or the American Southwest. It only grows in Tohono-O'odham land. From southern Arizona, central Arizona, down to northern Sonora. That
From
is a
Snake
saguaro
Town all
cactus
the way down.
with a saguaro cactus fruit, which they make wine from to bring the rain. And all these other plants are prickly pears. I recognize them because I hung out at this mountain. These very same cactuses are around this mountain. But I know a saguaro when I see one. And that's why I know this is Bi-Lateral. This is a trade route from Guaymas all the way up from here to these trade routes. And what are important about these trade routes? Colorado River, the Rio Grande, right down the middle. I know these guys are saying it's the 7Ks and origins and all that. But what I'm finding out is a trade map from Guaymas at 27 degrees latitude all the way up here to 31 degrees 110 up here, which is that Madera Canyon route I was just showing you a little earlier. That coincidentally goes to Teotihuacan. Those people right there. And what is over here?
And this is an ancient piece of art or a codex?
Parchment. Yeah, it's a codex. Now, how do I know that this guy in a robe is Eotoi from the Huhukum? We decipher art here, ancient art. We do decipherments. Look, there's a man standing on a ramp and he's wearing a serpent robe. What is this guy wearing? A serpent robe. What's above his head? A serpent. What's above his head? A serpent. I mean, it's in the ancient art. When you decipher it, when you know how to decipher art, this is what the tourists get to see in the museums. This is what I get to see. They're books.
So this is the undeciphered version, which is
the museum
a
version.
turquoise pendant that the Huhukum made, and then you applied sacred geometry to bring it here, and that's where you have
all the clues that fill you in what you're finding on these codexes are in the ancient art. Well, I talked this one already. the maze, why is it important? Because it was found in Oribe in a square format. And why is it important? Well, if you look at the maze, Ito himself is in a square format. Himself is telling you to turn this into a square format by just looking at him himself being like one of those Minecraft guys, or
The shape of him.
The shape of him is blocky. So it's telling you to square this, square that, which is what these petroglyphs mean that are being found in Oribe. And why Oribe?
And that's the one that says Sipapu. This is where it is.
Because Oribe is right at the dead center of the square maze. Oh. This is the layout for the maze, how it's really set up to the actual longitudes, the actual latitudes, and the connections there. Pyramid Peak, Gunnison, Colorado, Mesa Verde, Canyon de Chelly, Oribe, Montezuma Castle. How do I know? My Chinook mapping does the same thing. Pyramid Peak, Gunnison, Mesa Verde, Canyon de Chelly, Oribe, Montezuma Castle. There's all these other locations going all around here too. Basically, they line up from the Colorado River to the Rio Grande and the Santa Cruz River, which is at the bottom part here. But this is the Chinook mapping that's tied to here. This also gives you the location what people are looking for. Atsalan up here at 41 degrees, 110 degrees longitude. This shows you the Chinook class-up connection of how we're connected to the Huhuhukam. I guess that right there. That's how we're connected by the Huhuhukam Empire. This last part is the indigenous compass.
And this is the same as that. Well, except this is actually an extension. This is the north. This is the south part of that.
That's the indigenous title to our land.
Because that's 42 degrees, and then you go 43 degrees. And
No. 42.
Yeah, oh, right here, 42. So they both start right here. Okay, I didn't see that number there, but yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Just correction. Don't want to get people confused. Throw a little curve. Don't want to go too far. The last part is the indigenous compass. I created this because in the future, magnetic things, electronics aren't going to work. So why the hell been deal with it? So I created an indigenous compass that uses the North Star in order to figure out the directions and where you need to go. So you don't need a magnetic needle to figure out where your directions are, because they're not going to work anyway. So why even deal with a magnetic needle when you could create your own indigenous compass without any magnetic things that could screw up and then not be dependable, and then you're walking around in circles, But basically what I'm showing you here is book 2. This is I'm ordering it right now, and it's going to look just like this one. When I get both of them done, we're going to be ready to start our workshops, because now we have textbooks.
Oh, now we can travel and do workshops.
Mm-hmm. And we have textbooks on top of that.
And
this is the part right here which isn't in the book. This is my current, what you're seeing with
research,
the Huju or lizard in TO. The Huju lizard trade layout, which is a layout of a lizard and its tail and all of that. It's the same layout that's in the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan. It's within the architecture. But if you come over here, look. One is the master key, the other one is just the layout. What is right here? Atsalan, 41 degrees between 109 and 110. There's your Atsalan mystery solved. You go on down to here, and what do you find down on this point? The Muley Point Overlook, which is right on that corner. That marks Shiprock, Mount Taylor, and the Socorro route. And it's telling you that you continue this route going into the Pacific Northwest. See how it fits from the angle this way? So you can see Socorro, Mount Taylor, Shiprock, Muley Point, and going that way. But if you go the other way, the Blythe and Taglios at 33 degrees, 114 longitude, out on the Colorado River, and you do the same thing, you go to Blythe and Taglios, Wikiup, Seligman, Marble Canyon, and look, this one goes that way. Dun. And there's the center right there where they come together when all both of them merge into the one square, and one goes that way, one goes that way. So that's kind of what these two are. Where the black intaglios are marks the Colorado River, and below Socorro, at the same location down here, marks the Rio Grande. Basically, the rivers are right here, running up and down the side. And what is also at 105? Pecos. And what is that Pecos? The Pecos River. Where does the Pecos River? It runs to the east of us, but eventually, way down below in Texas, it runs back into the Rio Grande, which was another trade route for a river route going back to the Rio Grande and down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
So the Pecos River was important going down to Carlsbad, basically, and going through that area. And then these two, like I said, would go this way. That one would go that way. On this one, when it's going this way, it goes to Marble Canyon, Seligman, Wikiup, and the Blythe Intaglios. And up here on the other part, which really gets weird over here, is, well, let's start at the beginning. Muley Point is right here, Navajo Mountain, Mesa Verde. Go below it, Marble Canyon, Shiprock. You go this way, Supai, Chaco Canyon. See, it's its counterpart. Down, Seligman, Mount Taylor. Peach Springs, Sandia. See how it's working on them? And then the Pecos over here, and then the Spirit Peak on this side. You go further on down, all these seem to line up to the major cities for trading. Wapatki, Montezuma Castle, Casa Grande, and then down to Picacho Peak, which takes trade down to Tucson, which is this line over here. On this side, there's another one from Zuni, Malpais, and the Gila Cliff Dwellings going that way. But if you see these pink lines here, from Sandia, the trade route goes right to the Gila Cliff Dwellings, straight to Nogales, and from Nogales, it goes to Teotihuacan. From Nogales, from Spirit Peak to Wikiup to Picacho Peak, it does the same thing from 35 degrees there too. See, they're both at 35 degrees. And it goes to the same place, Nogales, for taking the trade to Teotihuacan, Mexico, or bringing trade from Teotihuacan to these places. Either way, it works in there.
Okay.
So basically what I did is I laid it all out. And there's Oribe, what I was showing you on the maze map a little earlier. And there, see Shiprock, Canyon de Chelly, Black Mountain, Casa Grande. They're important because Shiprock and Canyon de Chelly were connected to Black Mountain. Why? And Wapatki to Black Mountain to Point of Pines and going this way. Black Mountain contains gold, silver, and copper in large amounts. It's outside of Carefree, Arizona. And if you go down to this area, see where it says Bisbee, where my finger is at? Way down on this little line right here, it says Bisbee, where Point of Pines is, Malpais, Canyon de Chelly, and the Muley Point Overlook. Muley Point Overlook is pointing directly to Bisbee. And what is that? Bisbee, if you follow Bisbee, it's right next to the Nogales point right here. And why is that important? The Bisbee mines contain gold, silver, copper, and turquoise, which just means this is where they were mining the items to get to Teotihuacan. You mine it there, you take it to the trade route here, and send it to Teotihuacan. Bisbee's just right there. So they're pretty much closely aligned to the places where they need to go for doing trade. See, look at Black Mountain, and where does it go? Straight to Nogales too. The gold goes to Nogales, and then it all goes from Bisbee. The gold goes to Nogales, which goes to Teotihuacan. Or if you need to ship it out, you go up here to Spirit Peak, and you keep going. You take your gold and silver and turquoise, and you take it up to us in Tillamook, Oregon, and then we could ship it out to anywhere you want on the ocean from that point. So this is what this layout is. It's a layout of a lizard, which I was directed by the ancients to put together. So this is my current work on this one. The other current work I'm working on, and Colleen's upside down on this one. Might have to go this way. Members, New Mexico. Decipherments and steps. And bring it a little bit down here. This is what the tourists see in the museum. This is what the tourists see in colleges, universities, and books, and everyone worldwide. They get to see that. Stylized bird, as they call it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is called a stylized bird. That's
why
literally
I said
what
it.
it's titled.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
But watch what I can do with a stylized bird. Take stylized bird, make a left side. Take stylized bird, flip it over, make a right side. That's a mirror of this side. And you have two of them now. Now you have two of them together. What you do, you start pushing them together. And then it starts looking a little funky. Then you push it more together. Then you start noticing it's starting to make some kind of form. And then you push it more together. And the face is beginning to appear. And it's beginning to look more clear back there. And you push it more together. And now you could almost literally see a face here with the cheeks and the nose. And they start being formed here. And then finally you get to the last part. The final decipherment, when you push it together. And you have a face looking at you. And if you look down, you can move it down sideways, left and right. It's in 3D. Look, go down, move to it, look at it. And move in, move to the left, move to the right. And then see if you can get the serpent on the bottom. See, watch the serpent, see what he does. You made him disappear, go the other way. There you go. See, now if you notice, everything's become holographic. There's a face and there's a serpent. You want to see it clearer? You'd have to use this one. That's why I had to bring two of them. This one might be a little harder to, because you might have to get into it. But if you climb into right about there, you should be able to see the face.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
And you go all around, it goes all the way around like a band.
Oh, I see. There's his eyes.
Now go left, all the way
His
left,
eye,
that band.
There's one eye. There's the other eye.
Now
So,
follow
like,
that band, it goes all the way around. 3D, all the way around. Not just partially, all the way around. 3D, holographic to the hilt.
That's his body. It's like the shape of a serpent.
Mm-hmm. All the way to his tail at the very top. But the tail has disappeared because I
Oh,
guess...
yeah, there I see his tail. Right there's the end of his tail at the top there.
You're probably showing for the first time the holographic imagery that is really within our ancient art that nobody's even aware of or taking serious. Because they're too busy believing what they're reading in, the books. Which is just, the colonial version of who we are.
Right, and the lights are getting a little bit in the way, but I can see.
Well, probably because I have the plastic on here.
Yeah.
That's what's causing.
Yeah, that was also causing issues a little earlier when I was trying to film.
It's set up so if you need to, you can also take it out without all of the plastic shining on it. Yeah, there you go. Now I'll give it a look-see.
Another look-see at...
Without all the plastic shiny. Look at that face. 3D.
There, right there. There's eyes. And then his body wraps around.
That's cool when it wraps all the way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
3D art to the hilt. You can walk around it in 360 and still see imagery. I mean, can they do that in Paris? Can they do that with modern art? Can they even take a two-dimensional object and make it three-dimensional like we're showing?
Oh, there we go.
But there's so much.
It's a little hard.
There's so much that modern man is missing.
I'm getting a little bit.
That they have no idea. They're making up stories about what's in our ancient art. When it really is a visual language, and it's not made up of nouns and adverbs. It's It's made up of bilateral symmetry, so it creates images that are visual. So we do have a language, but it's visual language. It's not chicken scratch.
I love how you can really see like the eyes right there.
You can see the eyes of that serpent. He looks all sleepy. They're like half open.
Yeah, they are.
But now you can see how this crystal ball works in turning this image that's two-dimensional to a three-dimensional holographic image. And it's nothing witchery and nothing to do with brouhaha nonsense. It has everything to do with the law of physics of turning this image into a 360-degree sphere.
Right.
So you could get rid of all the witchery nonsense, and black magic and devil nonsense and all. It scared the Spaniards because they didn't understand what they were seeing when they turned a two-dimensional object three-dimensional right before their eyes, and next, they got murdered over it.
Well, there's also the Judeo-Christian affiliation of like association. They just knee-jerk reaction when they think about like the serpent and going back to that story in
Call
Genesis.
it for what it is. Eat a snake, people. See a snake. Eat a snake. Ah! Kill it. Ah, ooh, ee, ah. Oh, okay. That's pretty civilized, all right. Okay, whatever's clever. Eat a snake, people. Call it for what it is. But now that I showed you the deciphering techniques with how that is used to make 360 degrees from this imagery.
It's the application of sacred geometry, which is symmetrical balancing or reverse imaging.
And how my little other one
And
works
the
to
crystal
show
makes it three-dimensional.
the smaller objects become holographic, that you can see them too.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have Colleen look at something that I'm going to show that she can zoom in a little closer, because this is going to be the fun one. We'll start at the beginning, but first let me get it in focus. And excuse my scratches on it.
Yeah, I was noticing there's a little bit of scratches, but you can still see.
That's what happens when it's
Right.
a tool that you're doing research.
It's used a lot.
We'll start with the first one. This first one is from the Temple of the Foliated Cross down in Palenque.
Okay.
Now if you stand right about there.
Is this where the jade mask was found?
I'm going to show how it's all tied in. How all these images are tied into what's going on with that.
Okay, so here's the first image we're looking at. Oh, that's cool. That guy kind of
kinda
looks
like
like a
a-
Jesus
It is.
figure.
It's the Red Messiah. See?
Yeah.
Oh, did I drop?
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. You can still see.
I might have went too far. Maybe there, but try there. There you go.
Yeah.
He's even got some kind of halo around his head. You can see his beard.
That's kind of cool.
He's in prayer like this with his hands together. Something similar to like this.
Yeah, you can see that.
He's got a robe. But this is on the Temple of the Foliated Cross in Palenque.
Okay.
The Red Messiah. Next one over here. If you look closer in here, there's a nose, and above there's two eyes that look sleepy, and there's a jaw at the very bottom. And this one is taken from the Aztec calendar stone. A face that's within the Aztec calendar stone itself.
Oh, yeah.
That's also holographic. See his nose and his eyes. He looks sleepy.
Yeah, he does look sleepy.
But if you notice that all of the math equals holographic art that comes out of the Aztec calendar stone.
Yeah.
And now this is the one I just showed you a little
So that
earlier.
one was also reverse imaged. The lines were reverse imaged to make.
Just to show you again, we'll throw it in there. This is the one I showed you originally, that I showed you how the deciphering technique works.
Oh yeah. So there's
So-
the serpent again down. It's down there, looking at us.
Look at that serpent.
He's smiling.
Mm-hmm. One happy serpent.
Okay.
Speaking of happy serpents, this is from a turquoise mosaic that was found at Chichen Itza, and it shows Kukulkan as the king of heaven and earth. He's got a crown on his head, and he's standing on the face of the earth, or might even be standing on the sun, maybe even. But you can see that the crown is 3D holographic. You look in there, you can see that the serpent face and eyes. Look at the eyes.
Oh, yeah, let me hide that light a little bit and make it and cover it up a little. There we go.
And then the imagery that's above his head is all in 3D. There's even a pyramid above his head that's in the background.
Face. Whoa, that's crazy.
And that one is from a Maya mosaic turquoise disc that was found buried at a foot of a pyramid in Chichen Itza.
If it wasn't so scratched up, because you can really see, like I can see with my own two eyeballs, like later. Way back there, it's very three-dimensional. It looks like there's people. Later.
This is just the sampler page. This is Huhukum. This is Hohokam decipherment from turquoise. This is how turquoise is really intended to be used for creating holographic imagery. Let's see if I can get it centered right. There we go. And that one shows in the turquoise, it shows the face of the sun.
Oh, what's really interesting too is that in the Navajo creation story or history or oral history, Turquoise Boy is the sun bearer. He was asked to
maybe that's what that
be the
story is
person
saying.
Behind the sun.
Because it's a turquoise sun, which I thought was interesting. A turquoise sun. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you could see all those
I think
images
my next
and
thing, I'm gonna buy you a new one of these without scratches. But that's really cool that you can see that. Yeah.
And then now this is the one that's Maya. This is going to be an interesting one because what it shows here is an angel sitting on the snout of a serpent who has the sun in his mouth. And this is a weird decipherment because it comes from crystal. It's not turquoise, it's not shell.
Cover up that light real quick with
it's
my
made
head.
from crystal. Decipherments that are, I don't know how they did it, but they managed to put these decipherment images within their crystal objects. And I dug that one out, and it had an angel sitting on the snout of that serpent, and with a sun in its mouth. And I'm like,
I kind of want to look at this one with the full crystal ball, but that's pretty cool that you can.
This is just a sample.
Okay.
They want the full crystal ball. That's what the presentations are for. This is just a big commercial.
All right.
Here's the Huhukum right here. If you look, there's a bearded man within the turquoise and shell combination. And there's that little man down there with his serpent robe, which is Iatoi. And that's the Hohokam decipherments. And they got all kind of three-dimensional things in there, beautiful. Too. There's a guy up there that's kind of like a serpent going on both sides of it, crawling up the side like a snake with a human head at the end.
This one's a little... Yeah, the scratches kind of get in the way, but it's really pretty.
Here's the Maya one, another turquoise mosaic, but this one shows a person that's within all these colors, which brings me to another subject which might be interesting. There's all this crazy
Yeah, you can donate to Patreon so we can buy a new crystal that's not scratched up.
Lately online about portals. And
that's cool. I can kind of see
been trying to explain to people for the longest time that they're natural portals that are where petroglyph sites are in nature and all of that. But there's another important portal location that nobody's considering or even looking at, our ancient art. Which I believe that some of these are opening entrances to worlds that we're not even aware of from what I'm seeing.
Wow. Yeah, that crystal sphere makes it three-dimensional.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what
it really kind of rounds it out.
Okay, now I'm going to save the last one before I go to the next part of this decipherment.
Oh, okay. I see the serpent now. There's his face.
And his eyes.
Yeah, and his mouth is open.
He's got that sun in his mouth.
Okay, now I see what you're talking about. Ooh, this is cool. It's super pretty.
That angel sitting on top of him with his wings.
Right there. Oh, yeah, right there. He kind of reminds me of Buddha.
He's sitting in that position.
Yeah, he looks like a Buddha.
But this is the decipherment that I think the world really needs to see. is this one right here. If you look real close at the bottom here, you can see that there's a guy with his nose and his eyes and his jaw at the very bottom, and he's got a beard and a mustache, and he's got long hair. No different than the bearded guy that's shown over here with a beard and a mustache. And this guy's got a beard and a mustache with an arrow pointing directly down. And
The light's kind of glaring. Let me show it before. There's the before.
maybe Kalina, because it might be the light.
Yeah, it was a little bit about the light, and some of it's the scratches.
No, I mean you might be in that light right there. You might
yeah,
be in the
'cause-
way. There you
Yeah,
go.
I
see?
was trying to block
There you
the
go.
light 'cause it's
See,
reflecting.
now you can see him. Now see that face at the very bottom with that disc on his forehead, and you see his nose and the bridge of his nose here, and he's got at the very bottom. This decipherment is really interesting because it's using the same techniques as the Hohokam, the ancient Maya, the ancient Aztecs, and the ancients using this technique for their sacred art. But the only difference in this one, decipherment, is from a crop circle. Crop circles contains the same visual languages as that. It's the same thing. How in the world do the crop circle people know the same ancient language if it's not even known yet on the earth? I mean, only people that know this are the people under this roof. You and I and who's ever here.
Yep. And I was going to say the reverse imaging technique, which is your culture, your tribe, the totem pole, right? That symmetrical balancing.
Yeah, bilateral symmetry.
You could actually, the bilateral symmetry. So you could actually get a mirror, take that mirror, set it down on a piece of ancient art, or even a photo. You don't even need the actual object. You just need a photo. And if you take that image, you can, with the mirror, you can kind of pass it like that, or if it's a circular image like this, you can turn it around the center, and it'll animate that ancient art or piece of architecture, and you can see the story unfolds, because we've done that a bunch of times.
They're visual books.
Is John Longbow still doing those?
I have no idea.
I haven't seen
We're
him
doing
in a
what
while.
we're doing. He's building
busy.
guitars or something, so leave him alone.
Okay.
You have no time. There is the image in the 360 holographic. If you look, you can see the serpent with his crown, but he's even more pronounced because he's going through the crystal ball itself. It's basically taking this flat image, redistribute the image through a 360-degree sphere, redistribute the image through that, which creates the holographic imagery. But you got to know how to do the bilateral symmetry layout like we do with our totem poles. And then you can start seeing the visual language that the ancients left behind.
There's his face.
That looks cool, huh? You could go to the left and it'll be dimensional. The crown on the top.
Oh my God, his eyes are open.
Yeah, look at the eyes. Check those eyes out. They look real.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like a real serpent's looking at you.
That's pretty crazy. And that one too, it's like the sun is in his mouth, or he's holding it or something.
Well, everything's related to solar stuff, and I'm convinced it's tied into the research,
my
which is
God.
at the end with the solar cycles, the 11-year solar cycles.
Yeah, his eyes are super open now.
I'm convinced Kukulkan is in the sun, and that's why it's reacting the way it is right now as we speak. But we just don't know that the feathered serpent is awakening and waking up in the sun and then getting ready to come out. Where did he go when he left? Into the sun. Where he's going to come when he comes back? Out of the sun. Why? It's a portal.
Well, that kind of brings to mind like the idea, like how people talk about Gaia, right? And we call her Mother Earth as indigenous people, that she's alive and has consciousness.
Well, it's the same thing with tone
Same.
unseen. It's the same thing.
You know, the star, the sun.
Tone unseen is
The
the
spirit
same
of the sun.
representation, but they see us as heathens Okay, this one is from the lid of Palenque. And this is where I'm going to start showing you interesting things.
And
There's
this
a
is
red arrow there with a red circle on it, and hopefully Colin can grab it in there.
oh, I see that.
And if you go to the left and to the right, this is from like 600, AD area. And it's on the lid of Palenque with the jade mask was found, and the temple of foliated cross with the Messiah figure on it is all from the same imagery. But this is where it gets interesting. Within that red circle, there's a flying disc, and there's a man standing on a ramp, and behind him is windows with a bunch of people looking out of portholes. And it seems to have landed, and the ramps come down, and he's standing there at the very bottom. And if you go to the left and right, you could actually see the disc in 3D. It looks like a real flying saucer, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to see it. Yeah, it's funny because this light keeps showing up. It's rainbow colored. Let me try this side.
I don't think the world's ever known about this one because everybody's all excited about that image over here. They think he's sitting in a rocket and he's getting ready to blast off on that lid. And
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. That one's a famous one.
They think he's blasting off sitting in the astronaut chair. But when I decipher it, man, I find an electromagnetic flying saucer that's sitting there in 687 AD. I mean, I'm finding flying saucers in our ancient art. I guess what I'm saying.
Or orbs.
Or ancient UAPs.
I've actually been taking pictures. I have this past week I've seen two in the sky where it's like evening time, and initially I thought it was like maybe a plane, but it didn't change. And when I zoomed in on the pictures, it was something else.
There it is in its entirety with the whole lid. And there's the undeciphered one on the top. Undeciphered, deciphered.
Okay, so again, and so you did reverse imaging on that one.
Mm-hmm. So you can see his face over here, and then the UAPs underneath him.
So if anyone has like Photoshop or Procreate or something like that, what you can do is if you like drop the background and you just have the lines, you can flip it over on itself, line it up, and there's your reverse imaging.
Or if you even got a mirror.
Yeah, or even a mirror. You can use a mirror to do the...
These images will come out. They won't be as pronounced as what I'm showing you because these are the holographic part. But it's the basic way of finding what's within ancient art. That's what I use to find things. Now this is where it gets interesting. We started out with the Temple of the Foliated Cross, a Messiah figure. Okay, Maya. Palenque. Now the lid of a Palenque that was on top of the coffin that was at the Temple of the Foliated Cross, location 2. Palenque, Palenque.
Yeah.
Now what do we got after that? The jade mask that was on the king that was underneath the lid of Palenque.
The jade mask. So that was a red Messiah.
So this decipherment of the jade mask from Palenque is showing the entire decipherment technique that I just showed you with this crystal ball using the items that I showed a little earlier, just a miniature version. See, there's the crystal ball stand, the imagery that's I wanted to decipher.
Yeah.
And then
the image that comes out.
And then you get the image that comes out. And what does it show? It's like, what's that guy?
His eyes are opens too.
Like Kilroy was here when he's looking over a wall, like this. When Kilroy was here. Or that guy on the Tools show that used to be on, his neighbor was always looking over the wall. You only could see his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's like this guy. You only can see his eyes and his nose and his forehead and, part of his body. But basically, this is Pakal in his spirit form. He's human over here. This is him in his divine entity, I guess you would call him. See, because if you look, serpent on his middle of his forehead, on the top, besides where his face is at. And it looks like it's looking over a wall, which in itself is exciting because, you know...
I want to say that wall is like almost like the divide between like life and death, I guess.
Well, now that you said that, that's where I was going to go next.
Oh.
This is not deciphered. This is not part of what I planned of the research. As a matter of fact, Colleen is right about that line that you're looking at. That's right there. Because if you bring here and show that line one more time, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to make the line where my finger is.
Yeah.
Now watch. There's the tail rattle of the rattlesnake. There's its body twisting in the back behind the decipherment, and his body's going this way, and he's coming that way, and there's an entire serpent head and face with his eyes and his snout sitting right there looking right out of the crystal ball. That's not part of this decipherment. Or in other words, a portal.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you can kind of see his eye right there, and it looks like there's like a rainbow light.
He's even greasy like a snake, like a serpent would be. You know,
kind of slimy looking.
kind of slimy looking.
Yeah.
And if you go back here, there's a lady's woman's face that's way back here in this little wave. There's other images that are within it as well. But the main image is this flying serpent, and his rattles, his body flying over here, and he's twisting this way, all the way to his face, pushed right up against the glass, you know, the crystal ball.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of my decipherment. That wasn't even planned. Every now and then I'll do decipherments, and I'll get a visitor. I'll get a guest to show up, and they'll be going, whoa, where did that come from?
And then you don't even see it till later, too.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because that's how it was when I took pictures of those Anasazi and Kachina at Mesa Verde. I didn't even know until a week later when we were looking at it, and you pointed out that there's people in there.
So light that I found out that there's a little tiny kid standing right here at the crystal ball watching us. But I don't have it in here.
Oh, but it's not in your picture, though.
Not in this book. But here is the proof that our ancient art, when created right, are portals to our ancient past, or even could be portals to the future. Because we can't go to the now, because that's where we're at this moment.
No.
This thing can take you that, take you forward, take you backwards, wherever you want. Okay. The ancient deities, they're not dead, they were sleeping. They'll come and visit you. This over here is cool